Have you ever heard someone died suddenly with heart attack at their young age? Have you ever heard someone suddenly got a stroke? Have you ever heard somebody's kidneys failed suddenly? If you don't want this kind of nasty health surprises, please watch this video. Hi, this is Kiran. I'm going to tell you about 8 self-health checks that can save your life. These health checks, you can do it yourself and you don't need any medical knowledge or anybody's help. Before we begin, a few points. I've never done video. Actually, I've never done 2 things before. One is that I never done video before. I never grew my beard before. The 2 things I'm doing for first time. Before we begin, just a note, this is not a promotional video. I don't show or recommend any brands in this video. These 8 self-health checks, you need to do them frequently. When I say frequently, from at least depending on your age and fitness, 1 to 6 months. For example, you are very young, below 30, and you are reasonably fit, you can do it for every 6 months. But you are 40 plus, for example, your fitness is average, it's better to do it every month or at least every 2 months. My strong recommendation is you set a reminder in your calendar, whatever the frequency you chose, and then do it frequently. It is important to do it frequently. The reason is that if these health checks are fine, 2 months back or 3 months back, and so you think that, oh, it was fine, so I don't have to do it for next few years. That's not right. So you have to do these things frequently. That is my recommendation. First health check in my list is BMI. What is BMI? It's a body mass index. So your weight in proportion to your height. It's easy to check. What do you need to check your BMI? So your bathroom scale or weighing machine or weight scale, whatever you call. And another is a measuring tape so that you can measure your height. Check your weight and check your height, and then you can input these values into the lots of websites. They provide BMI. You can input them, and then it will give you, these websites will give you your BMI with also normal range. So if you are within a normal, that's good. But if you are coming closer to higher end, for example, and then you need to be careful about your diet and exercise. If you're already in overweight and obese section, and obviously that is a more serious situation, so you need to really take steps to reduce your weight. And also don't assume that if your weight loss is good as well. If you lose your weight suddenly, but there is no explanation for that, it's called unexplainable weight loss. Even that is not good as well. For example, if you're doing exercise and if you're doing a diet and then you reduced weight, that is okay. But you haven't done anything, but suddenly you reduce your weight, and that is also not good. If that happens, you should go to doctor. Just one more point on BMI. For Indians, their normal range is a little bit less than usual normal range. What it means is, for example, when you input your weight and height, you got a BMI between 18 and 25. For Indians, they should consider only 18 to 23 is a normal. If about 23, they should consider they're actually overweight. There are various reasons why Indians' BMI should be a bit lower, because their dietary habits and their lifestyle. The doctors recommend the Indians should have a little bit of less of BMI. So that is the first one in my list. The second health check in my list is blood pressure and heart rate. The blood pressure is important because you know that there's so many diseases that are related to hypertension. That includes heart attacks as well. So it's very important to check your blood pressure regularly. So there are various blood pressure machines you can buy. Some goes around the wrist and some you check around your arm. But I recommend something comes with a cuff that goes around your arm, something like this. So it's easy to check. You don't need any knowledge. Just you put your arm and press the button. It will give 3 readings. One is systolic pressure, and another is a diastolic pressure, and another is a PR or HR, the pulse rate or heart rate. The systolic pressure should be 120 plus or minus 10, and diastolic pressure should be 80 plus or minus 5, and the heart rate will be around 70, between 70 and 100. So if these are not within normal ranges, for example, your systolic pressure is very high or diastolic pressure is high, or your pulse rate also very high or very low, in these situations you need to go to doctor and check it. But check this blood pressure regularly. As I said initially, the frequency 1 month to 6 months, depending on your age and fitness, and check this blood pressure regularly. So knowing blood pressure is very, very important. This can avoid so many other diseases if you start taking measures before you become hypertensive. Third one in health checks list is that blood glucose. So how do you check your blood glucose? By something called glucometer, something like this. So these glucometers are available everywhere. So you can buy it from any online store or any shop. But there are 2 types of these glucometers. This one is it calculates your blood glucose, instant blood glucose. Another one, it calculates HbA1c. The machine you want to buy is which calculates HbA1c. The reason is that I'll tell you what is HbA1c. So the hemoglobin in your blood, in your RBC, red blood cells. So the excessive blood glucose deposits on top of hemoglobin. So that is what HbA1c. So this is more reliable indicator to know what is happening with your blood glucose over the period of time. So this is important for especially people like they are not already diabetic, they are not insulin, and you want to check how your blood glucose is working in your blood, and this is the right indicator. When you buy a glucometer, make sure that measures HbA1c. So for the other glucometers which actually measures instant blood glucose level, they are also good, but they are much more useful. People are already diabetic who are already insulin. Make sure your HbA1c is less than 6. For example, you are coming very closer to 6 means that you are becoming diabetic. So make sure that you reduce your carbohydrate diet and do exercise and all of that. If you already crossed 6, there is a possibility you are already diabetic, and consult the doctor immediately. So it is important to measure blood glucose because you know that diabetes is related to so many diseases. That includes kidney fails, and it damages nervous system, it damages your eyes and so many organs. And also diabetics, once they get the infection, it's much harder to get rid of infection. It is very difficult. There is no cure for diabetes, as you know. It's only a treatment, so you can manage your diabetes with insulin and other things, but there is no cure. That is why it's better to measure and make sure you don't get diabetes. Fourth health check in my list is blood cholesterol. So how do you check blood cholesterol? You check with the blood cholesterol machine, something like this. So there are 2 types of blood cholesterol machines. One gives you the total blood cholesterol, other gives you the separation. In general, the machine that gives you the separation is better. The reason is there are good cholesterols and the bad cholesterols, but they are expensive as well. These machines that gives you separation is very expensive. So the machines that gives you total cholesterol slightly cheaper. So depending on your requirement, you can buy either total cholesterol one or the separation one. The cholesterols are different types, for example, HDLs and LDLs and triglycerides. The HDLs are good for health. and then LDLs and triglycerides are not good. They're called bad fat. HDLs we call a good fat. That is the reason the machines which gives a separation is slightly better. But don't worry, even if you check a total cholesterol, if your total cholesterol less than 5 and you're good and you are reaching very close to 5 or across the 5, and then you need to take care of your diet and reduce your bad fat in your diet and then do exercise. The controlling cholesterol is very important because cholesterol can cause various diseases. Some of them are very dangerous. For example, it can create heart attacks, hypertension, and so many disorders. So that is why check your cholesterol regularly. Okay, fifth one in my list is body temperature. How do you check your body temperature? You all know that you can check with a thermometer. You may think that, I don't have a fever, why should I check a body temperature? It's true, but I'll explain you why it is important to check your temperature regularly. So you can check your temperature. There are various types of thermometers. You can buy oral thermometer that you check it temperature under the tongue, or the forehead one and you check directly on your forehead, and or something like this, the ear thermometer, and you check with this one in your ear. So ear thermometers are good if you have children at home and you don't have to put their thermometer in their mouth. So it's slightly safer. You can just check it in their ear. But doesn't matter what thermometer you use. But what matters is that you check these temperatures. When you check temperature, you don't check it just one time. Check 3 times a day. In the morning and in the afternoon and in the evening. The reason why you should check 3 times is that certain disorders, for example, tuberculosis, in the morning and afternoon normally temperature would be normal, but by evening a temperature will rise slightly. So evening rise of temperature is very, very common in tuberculosis. That's why it's better to check 3 times and record these temperatures. And if it is rising, if the temperature is rising at certain time, and then you need to consider to consult a doctor. Don't think like in India, some people think that, oh, my body is a heat body, so I will have a slightly higher temperature. Some people think that my body is a cold body. Nothing like that. If your temperature is not within the normal range, and you need to go to doctor and make sure, check everything and make sure you're all right. Sixth one in my list is peripheral oxygen saturation percentage. This is just to check how your oxygen is in your blood. It is very, very simple to check, and so this is called pulse oximeter. Just you put your finger inside the pulse oximeter and it gives you the your oxygen percentage. Usually it should be between 95 to 99, but if it is less than that, and then you need to think that you are not getting enough oxygen. This check is slightly less important check in general compared to all other checks, but I still included this because of the COVID. This check is very important during the COVID time. For example, during the COVID time, if you get your saturation is less than 95, you need to be very careful and you need to actually go to doctor and check it. But in general, it gives you the indication whether your lungs and others are functioning correctly and you're getting enough oxygen saturation. And again, it is cheap device and it's easy to check. You just put finger inside it and that's it. So it's easy. And again, just one comment, most of these checks, I'm not showing you how to test these things. The reason is that they are very, very simple to check. All of these devices comes with a user guide, and most of them you can actually check within 3 or 4 minutes, and it's easy to check. It won't take a long time. So even if you really worry and how to check or anything, and there must be lots of other YouTube videos you can check as well. Or just send me a message. I can make one video for that as well if you need. Seventh health check in my list is ECG. What is ECG? Electrocardiogram, and it tells you the condition of your heart. So before I start, one important note, the ECG machine in the hospital is completely different than what you use at home. In the hospital, it gives you the much more information. It is more sophisticated. It gives you, it has got chest leads, limb leads, bipolar and unipolar. It gives that lots of information so that doctors can diagnose whether it's a carditis or whether it's a ischemic heart disease or it's a congenital heart disease or it's a bundle block or arrhythmia or flutter. So depending on the ECG, and they can diagnose. But at home, and you can use machine like this, but that machine gives you the overall information, like whether your heart is regular or irregular. So if you have a regular rhythm, it's good, and if that says that irregular rhythm means that you need to go to doctor. It doesn't tell you exactly what's the problem is. It simply tells you that there is some problem. So there are various types of ECG machines that you can use at home, and nowadays even smart wristwatches can give you the ECG as well. And some of the small devices now you can use them with your mobile with a Bluetooth connection, and they will give you the ECG information as well. But I prefer something like that which comes with a cable, and it is much more accurate and reliable. And people who do not know ECG, and they only need to check whether that overall ECG, whether it's saying that regular rhythm or irregular. For example, people who really knows the ECG, for a medical person, for example, and even using these machines, and they can actually find out much more information. For example, if they know what PR interval means and what QT interval means, what, for example, ST segment elevation means. For example, me, I can actually get much more information even from this machine, and I can work it out exactly what the problem is. For example, for others, don't worry, and as long as it says a regular rhythm, and you should be fine. It says irregular means that something wrong with your heart. May or may not be wrong, but you need to go to doctor and make sure that check everything that are related to your heart. One very important note, when you get chest pain or any heart related problems, you still need to go to doctor. Don't rely on your home ECG. Home ECG tells you your heart rhythm is regular or irregular. That doesn't mean that you don't have other problems. So if you get a chest pain, even your home ECG says a regular heartbeat, doesn't matter, you still need to go to hospital. So remember that. Okay, last and eighth in my list, last but not least, is a general body check, general observation. So for example, you check general status of your body. For example, you feel tired, but there is no explanation for that tiredness. If you work very hard and you have done some exercise or whatever and you feel tired, and that's okay because you worked whole day hard and then you are feeling tired. But for no reason, for example, you are feeling tired, means that something wrong. That kind of observations. And also check your body if there are any swellings or there are any discoloration of your skin and any discoloration of your nails, or if the nails are changing its shapes. Check your moles or spots if they are changing its color or structure. And especially swellings, painless swellings are more dangerous. You regularly check whether there are any swellings in your neck or axilla, groin. They're more dangerous. Don't ignore if some swelling is painless and you may think that, okay, this is a small painless swellings. As I said, painless swellings are more dangerous than painful swellings. Any of these kind of general observations, when you see them, and it's better to evaluate them with a doctor and make sure they're not dangerous. That's the last one in my list. These are the 8 health checks that can save your life. Before I conclude this and few points, and some people may think that there are other tests as well. For example, breast examination, self-breast examination for women, or some urine tests and things like that. I haven't included them in this list. There are a few reasons. One is some of these checks are not related to, they're very specific. I mean, they're not related to a general lifestyle health problems. And other is, for example, urine tests and the color-coded tests. They're not reliable. If something is not reliable, and there is no point in doing it. One more health check I wanted to include in the list, but I haven't. That is CBP or CBC. Reason being, and there is no machine available currently. You can use it at home. Only option is that you can check this in the hospital. But last time I heard the news, two American Indian scientists made a machine that actually gone through the approvals of FDA and other organizations, and very soon it is going to available in the market. Once that CBP machine available, this complete blood picture or complete blood count machine, once that is available, and I'll probably make another video for that. For now, and these 8 health checks are very important, and you can avoid nasty health surprises by doing these health checks regularly. Please subscribe the channel, and more importantly, pass this video to your loved ones. Even if they already know these tests, at least this video will work like a reminder or reinforce them to do these tests. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching the video.